Welcome back to The Deep Dive, powered by the Data Zen AI podcast and the Data Zen community.
It's great to be here.
So it's that time of year. It's December. We are right in the thick of the holiday season. And I think we can all agree we are just running on fumes. You're either prepping for these huge family gatherings, or maybe you're just trying to sneak a few vegetables onto the Christmas table.
Or you're already thinking about the food coma.
Oh, absolutely. The inevitable January detox planning is already starting in the back of your mind.
It's what we call the kitchen crunch, right? The
Yeah.
challenges are pretty much universal at this time of year.
Yeah, you're managing these big get-togethers, you're stressed, you have no time to fit in healthy habits.
And the food waste. The amount of leftovers is it's overwhelming. And on top of all that, you're trying to balance your weight and health without adding some kind of complex nutritional planning to your already crazy calendar.
That sets the perfect stage for our deep dive today. Our listener, the learner, came to us with this, I think, really critical question about generative AI. Can tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and this whole growing ecosystem of recipe apps, can they genuinely step up and become a reliable personal kitchen assistant?
So we're asking if it can handle everything at once. The personalization, the efficiency, and the health goals.
Exactly. We're looking for the proof. This is really about moving past the novelty phase of AI, isn't it?
It is. We're asking, can we actually trust this technology with something as fundamental and as sensitive as our diet and our long-term health?
Right.
So we've pulled together a huge stack of sources for you today. We have practical guides for prompt engineering, reviews of kitchen apps, and I think most importantly, the cold, hard data.
The clinical studies.
The clinical studies, the
Yeah.
ones that actually compared AI-generated meal plans against the gold standard menus designed by professional registered dietitians.
So what's our mission today? We're going to unpack the huge promise of efficiency, how AI can save you time and cut down on waste.
And then we're going to dive straight into the pitfalls. The things that might surprise you, like nutritional accuracy, issues with saturated fat, and this dangerous illusion of personalization.
Okay, let's unpack this. Can a large language model really save you from a recipe rut? Or, maybe more importantly, save you from getting bad nutritional advice?
Let's find out.
Let's start with the fun stuff, the practical magic. All those kitchen efficiency gains. I want to start here because this is where the wins are just so immediate and tangible. We used to have a question in the kitchen like, what goes with chicken? And you Google it and get, I don't know, 1 million articles.
Right.
Using an LLM feels like a fundamental shift from that.
Yeah.
It's not just a database search anymore. It feels like you have a dynamic, creative partner.
It absolutely shifts the paradigm. We're moving from, passively searching for stuff that already exists to actively generating new, totally custom content in real time.
Tailored exactly to what you have in your fridge right now.
Precisely. And for the busy cook, especially during this holiday madness, it solves that paralyzing kitchen question. What on earth am I going to cook with these random 3 things in my pantry?
Let's talk about how powerful that brainstorming is. You get home late, you're exhausted, you open the fridge.
You've all been there.
You have some tomatoes that need using up, a box of pasta, and a pack of chicken. You are just too tired to scroll through blogs or try to remember some recipe you saw last month.
With an LLM like ChatGPT or Perplexity, the whole process becomes instantaneous. The prompt requires zero creativity from you.
Right.
You just list the constraints. I have tomatoes, pasta, and chicken. What can I cook? You give it the building blocks, and it just takes it from there.
And the response isn't just a list of vague ideas. The AI gives you a specific, structured recipe. It knows exactly what creamy tomato chicken pasta is.
And it gives you the ingredient quantities, the step-by-step instructions, even an estimated prep time.
It just cuts out that, 15 minutes of friction, that time you spend just deciding what to make and trying to find a recipe that actually fits what you have.
The time savings are huge. But I think the impact on reducing food waste is just as important, both economically and for the environment.
It's a massive issue, especially when people overbuy for holiday meals and end up just throwing away perfectly good food.
Well, specialized apps are now tackling this head-on. They're using AI for what they call real-time pantry tracking.
Okay, so this is more than just generating a recipe.
Oh yeah, this elevates the AI from being a recipe generator to being a continuous resource manager for your kitchen.
How does that work exactly?
The mechanism is really efficient. You log your ingredients either by hand when you put groceries away or by scanning a receipt.
Or I guess some of those smart fridges could do it automatically.
Exactly. And the AI then monitors that inventory constantly, including expiration dates.
So it's like the AI is watching your calendar and your pantry at the same time?
That's a great way to put it. Its main job shifts. It stops suggesting just ideal recipes and starts suggesting recipes specifically designed to use up ingredients that are about to expire.
So it might send you a little nudge?
It will.
Okay.
A notification that says, hey, your kale's going bad tomorrow. Here are 3 quick meals to use it up tonight.
That's brilliant. That proactive push helps you maximize your budget and cut down on that guilt you feel when you throw food away.
It turns that thing that's about to expire into an immediate asset, something you actually want to cook with.
And the convenience factor goes beyond just planning. It goes right into the physical act of cooking. We're seeing these big and I think often overlooked quality of life improvements being built into these AI recipe managers.
This is where the tech really integrates into the messy reality of the kitchen.
Let's talk about the hands-free cooking experience because I know I'm not alone here.
Hmm.
I didn't even realize how much I needed this until I read about it.
Right.
When you're in the middle of a recipe, your hands are covered in raw chicken or dough or flour.
You can't touch your phone.
Exactly. You have to stop, wash your hands, or just smudge up your screen to get to the next step. It's such an interruption.
So specialized apps now have really good voice control. This is pure friction reduction.
So you can just say,
You can just say, next step, or read that last instruction again, or pause timer, all without touching your device.
that seems like a small thing, but it actually removes a huge point of friction from cooking. You can stay focused.
And it's not just about turning the page, it's about getting contextual help right when you need it.
Mid-recipe.
Mid-recipe. Imagine you're making a complicated holiday sauce and you realize you're out of something, or you want to tweak the flavor.
You can just ask the AI right then and there.
You can. I'm out of sour cream, can I use Greek yogurt instead? Or maybe, how can I make this sauce spicier right now?
That real-time consultation, that's transformative. It's like having a seasoned chef standing right next to you, ready to offer advice for your exact situation.
It is. It just eliminates that whole process of stopping what you're doing, searching Google, sifting through a bunch of conflicting opinions, and then just guessing at a substitution that might ruin the meal.
And that blend of speed and adaptability, it just naturally flows into streamlining the really tedious parts of meal prep.
The planning and the shopping.
Exactly. That's where the structure of AI really shines. It's so good at taking all these different variables, a full week of meals, different family preferences, dietary restrictions, a tight budget.
And just synthesizing all of that into a clear, actionable plan.
The weekly meal plan generator is probably the biggest single time saver for a busy family or a professional.
You just put in your parameters, how many people you're feeding, your health goals, how much time you have, and the AI creates a coherent schedule.
And crucially, it then automatically spits out a shopping list based on those recipes.
Right.
I have to wonder, though, in our research, did we find examples where those lists missed things? Or did that efficiency ever, come at the cost of being complete?
That's a great question, and it's a key distinction. The sophistication of these systems has really grown. The best AI lists don't just throw random items at you.
No.
They're often categorized by the supermarket aisle layout produce, pantry, dairy, meats.
Which lowers the friction of the grocery run itself. You're not zigzagging across the store.
You're not. You follow a logical path, you save time, you save mental energy.
And this planning power becomes absolutely critical right now during the holidays when budgets are so stretched.
You can use the AI's power directly for cost saving.
How so?
Well, think about planning a big holiday meal. You can give it a specific constraint in the prompt. Something like, make me a festive Christmas dinner menu for 6 people, but the total ingredient cost has to be under 50 euros.
So the AI has to filter recipes and ingredients just to meet that budget.
Precisely. It gives you a feasible, budget-conscious menu, not some expensive, aspirational one you can't afford.
That is practical AI at its best.
And?
Beyond just budgeting, though, the AI tools are also improving the digital cooking experience itself.
Yes, the recipe cleanup feature is a big one. Anyone who imports recipes from online knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, the pop-up ads, the long personal stories before you get to the ingredients.
Exactly. When you copy a recipe from one of those cluttered websites, the AI steps in, it analyzes the content, it intelligently strips out all the extra stuff, and it restructures the core recipe into a clean, readable format.
That saves a ton of manual work and just makes it easier to follow. I was also really interested in the psychological benefit mentioned in the sources, especially around how food is presented.
It's a subtle thing, but it's a powerful driver for changing behavior.
How does that work?
When these AI tools present recipes as these beautiful visual cards with appealing photos, it gently nudges you toward healthier, more colorful, more balanced options.
Because we're naturally drawn to food that looks good.
Exactly. The AI leverages that visual appeal to quietly guide you toward more nutrient-dense choices. It connects how good it looks with how good it is for you.
Okay, let's shift gears now. We've talked about quick inspiration and efficiency. Now let's get into deep, sustained health management.
This is the big leap.
This is where AI tries to move from being a helpful kitchen assistant to, well, a qualified, personalized nutrition expert.
And to do that, you have to understand that the input is everything. You cannot get meaningful personalization without precise input.
You can't just ask it to help me eat better.
No. To function like a digital dietitian, the AI needs a comprehensive blueprint. The quality of the output is directly tied to the clarity of the input.
So what does that essential blueprint actually look like? What data points does it need?
It needs the same things a human dietitian would ask for in a consultation. It's basically 3 layers of information.
Okay, what's the first layer?
First is your current status and your desired outcome. What's your diet like now, and what are your specific goals? Weight loss, muscle gain, managing blood sugar, or just more energy?
And the second layer would be the hard data.
Correct. Your demographic and biological metrics. Age, sex, height, current weight, and a really precise assessment of your physical activity level, sedentary, active, whatever it may be.
And then finally, the restrictions.
The critical restrictions. Food allergies like gluten or nuts, medical needs like low sodium, or your chosen dietary philosophy like being vegan or low carb.
And the AI uses all that data to move from just a vague wish to smart, measurable objectives.
Right.
So a good starting prompt might be something like, as a nutrition expert, identify goals based on this info. I'm a vegetarian. I want to lose 10 pounds in 3 months, and I have a gluten tolerance. What should be the key objectives of my diet plan?
That level of detail forces the AI to analyze the complexity. It has to respect the vegetarian philosophy, manage the gluten-free constraint, and engineer a caloric deficit for that specific weight loss target.
It gives you actionable objectives, which is so much more useful than just a list of recipes. And this brings us to the core of it all, calculating what you actually need to eat. The AI's ability to handle these complex constraints has to extend to precise calorie and macronutrient targeting.
Yes, and this is where we have to get into the technical complexity a bit because it helps us understand why it sometimes fails later on.
Okay.
The AI needs to estimate your total daily energy expenditure, or TDEE, and that calculation is complex. It relies on several factors.
So what are those key factors the AI should be looking at for TDE?
Firstly, your basal metabolic rate, or BMR. That's the energy you need just to keep your body functioning at rest. That's calculated using formulas with your age, sex, height, and weight.
Okay, and then activity.
Right. Then it has to estimate the calories burned through activity. And we break this into 2 parts. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT.
Yeah, that's things like fidgeting or walking around the office.
Exactly. And then exercise activity thermogenesis, or EAT, which is your planned workouts.
So if I tell it I have a sedentary job, the AI needs to really lower its estimates for my NEAT and EAT compared to someone who's, say, a construction worker.
Precisely. And based on all of those inputs, it can suggest an optimal daily calorie intake that aims for a specific, sustainable weight loss rate, usually around 1 to 2 pounds a week.
So you need that really detailed prompt just to even start the personalization journey.
You do. And it also extends to managing portion control and identifying potential nutritional gaps, especially in specialized diets.
Right.
The AI can tailor portion size recommendations for a specific diet, keto, vegan, whatever, to make sure you're getting a balanced intake of nutrients and not creating deficiencies.
So you could ask it something like, as a dietitian, what are the right portion sizes for a vegan breakfast if my goal is 1,600 calories?
Exactly. How much oats, how many nuts, how much fruit to ensure a balanced, nutritious start to the day.
And the real test of the LLM's power is managing multiple, sometimes conflicting constraints at the same time. That's the biggest challenge for people with allergies or strong preferences.
LLMs excel at this. They handle this combinatorial complexity at machine speed. We saw a great multi-layered example prompt for this.
What was it?
It was, create a personalized 7-day meal plan. I'm a 30-year-old male, vegan, and trying to lose weight. I am also allergic to gluten. Give me a meal plan suggestion that takes all these factors into account for the next 7 days, including portion sizes.
That is exactly what a human dietitian handles, and the speed the AI can do it is just incredible. It filters through billions of options to find only those that are vegan, gluten-free, and fit the calorie target.
It is powerful, but this is where we have to introduce a crucial note of caution. This really foreshadows what we're going to talk about in part 3.
Okay.
A study that focused specifically on food allergies found that while ChatGPT is, quote, generally accurate in handling those constraints,
There's a but.
the common errors involved miscalculating the nutrient density, so it led to inaccuracies in portions or total calories.
So it follows the rules, but the fundamental nutrition might still be flawed.
Exactly. And that could potentially lead to an inadequate or even harmful diet if you just follow it blindly.
Given that we're in the holiday season, let's talk about how AI can help with survival strategies, mitigating that seasonal eating stress.
AI is an excellent behavioral strategist. You can use its planning power to preemptively manage the chaos.
So you could ask it for a meal plan focused on weight maintenance during the holiday week itself.
Or a more structured 2-week nutritional reset plan for January.
Or even better, how to deal with temptation during the holiday meal.
Yes. The AI can suggest effective behavioral strategies. It can advise on portion control techniques or suggest healthier swaps for traditional high-calorie festive foods.
Like mashed cauliflower instead of mashed potatoes.
Exactly. Or it could suggest high-fiber snacks to eat before a party to help you eat less overall. You could prompt it with something really specific.
Like what?
Suggest 3 practical strategies to stick to my 1,800-calorie plan during a holiday party where I usually struggle with appetizers.
That level of actionable advice is what integrates the diet plan into real life.
And finally, we saw it streamlining plans for busy schedules, combining meal prep and dining out. It really operationalizes the diet plan.
It turns it from a theoretical document into a practical schedule.
For the busy vegetarian who only has 2 hours on a Sunday to cook, using the chickpeas and quinoa the pantry tracker identified, the AI outlines the most efficient batch cooking strategy.
And for when you inevitably have to eat out.
It suggests coping strategies. Researching the menu beforehand, giving you the language to ask for modifications, can I have that grilled instead of fried? And helping you monitor portion sizes to stay on track. It makes the diet plan part of your lifestyle, not some overwhelming homework assignment.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. And where our Data Zen community audience needs to pay close attention.
The reality check.
The reality check. We've established the promise. Efficiency, quick personalization, handling complex rules. Now, we dive into the reality based on rigorous scientific studies. We looked at a key piece of research that put a leading model, ChatGPT 4o, to the test. It compared its weight management menus across 3 different diet types against menus designed by professional dietitians.
And this is the critical part for anyone relying on these tools for their health. The overall finding was pretty stark.
What was it?
While the AI produced structured, readable menus, it consistently failed on 2 fundamental safety criteria. It systematically went over the recommended levels for saturated fat, and critically, it failed to truly personalize the energy requirements based on the data you gave it.
Okay, let's break that down. Let's focus on the macronutrient imbalances first. One of the most striking things was the AI's tendency to just default to low-carb diets.
Yes. Regardless of what the user actually asked for, the study revealed that AI menus were significantly low in carbs even when the user didn't specify a low-carb plan.
So for the general recommendation menu, what did that look like?
Even for that standard baseline diet, carbs only accounted for about 23.3% of total energy. For intermittent fasting, it was even lower, around 16%.
Okay, let's pause on that 23% figure for a general recommendation. That's not just a little low, that's radically low.
It is.
For someone trying to follow mainstream advice, which is usually 45 to 65% of calories from carbs, why is the AI defaulting to this specific and kind of controversial low-carb philosophy?
That's a phenomenal question, and the sources point to 2 main reasons. First is data training bias.
Meaning?
A lot of the highly publicized diet trends online, especially in the English language data it was trained on, lean heavily toward restrictive or low-carb approaches. The AI is optimized to generate popular content, so it just leans into that trend.
So it's picking the most frequent answer in its training data, not necessarily the most clinically sound answer.
Precisely. And second, there's a simplicity to the calculation. It's often just computationally easier for an LLM to generate recipes high in fats and proteins than it is to carefully balance complex high-fiber carbs while also maintaining a calorie deficit.
And what's the danger there?
The danger is the long-term implication. The dietitian menus in the same study consistently kept carbs around 52%, the profile associated with better cardiovascular health and sustained energy. The AI is basically pushing users into a restrictive, non-standard diet by default.
And tied directly to that low-carb, high-fat approach is the saturated fat problem. Clinically speaking, this feels like the most serious safety finding from the sources.
It is a crucial area of risk. It's about fat quality. The AI menus consistently prepared content that was high in saturated fat.
How high?
The percentage of energy from saturated fat ranged from 10.9% in the general recommendation diets up to a really concerning 15.6% in the ketogenic group.
And just for context, what are the established clinical standards there? What should we be aiming for?
The World Health Organization, the American Heart Association, basically all major clinical bodies recommend strictly limiting saturated fat to less than 10% of your total energy to prevent cardiovascular disease.
And the AI menus exceeded that limit across all three diet types.
All three.
That is a huge, clinically relevant deviation. What does that tell us about how the AI is choosing recipes?
It suggests that while the AI might hit your calorie target and maybe even your total fat target, it doesn't sufficiently account for the difference between healthy unsaturated fats like olive oil or avocados and less healthy saturated fats.
So butter, high-fat dairy, red meat.
Exactly. It seems to prioritize flavor or simplicity, and it relies on those high saturated fat ingredients to meet the overall calorie goal. In sharp contrast, the dietitian-prepared menus consistently kept saturated fat well below that 10% threshold. It's a clear focus on health that the general LLMs just lacked.
And what about protein? It sounds like the AI went really high on that too.
It did. The AI menus had significantly elevated protein, averaging 27 to 28% of energy. The professional dietitian standard was closer to 16% for those same plans.
And while high protein can be good, that kind of imbalance, combined with low carbs and high saturated fat, creates a dietary profile that's very different from a standard recommendation.
And it may be inappropriate for people with certain health concerns, like kidney issues.
Okay, moving beyond the macros, let's talk about the micronutrient gaps. These are so essential for long-term health, especially when you're in a calorie deficit for weight loss.
The analysis here revealed systemic deficiencies. AI-generated diets were frequently low in essential micronutrients, specifically calcium, potassium, and vitamin B1 across all the diet types they tested.
Low calcium seems particularly counterproductive if you're trying to manage weight or improve fitness.
It is deeply concerning. Adequate calcium intake is associated with anti-obesity effects, and it's fundamental for bone density, especially during calorie restriction.
So this is a major and potentially harmful nutritional blind spot for the AI.
It is. The systematic failure to meet the recommended dietary allowance for things like calcium and potassium is a major issue.
Which brings us to what I think is the most shocking finding: the illusion of personalization.
Yeah.
We established that you're supposed to give the AI all this detailed information: BMI, activity level, height, weight. The whole premise is that it processes this and gives you a custom plan. But did it actually use that info?
Critically, no. This is maybe the most damning finding for the reliability of these general LLMs in a clinical context.
What did this study do?
They rigorously tested it by providing highly individualized input for multiple simulated participants, different BMI classes from overweight to class 2 obesity, and different activity levels from sedentary to active.
So the AI knew the difference between a 180-pound desk worker and a 250-pound active construction worker.
Exactly. Yet the energy, macronutrient, and micronutrient distributions across the resulting AI diet plans showed no significant difference between these vastly different simulated groups.
Wait. So whether you told the AI you were a sedentary person or an active person,
Yeah.
it gave you basically the same plan.
The caloric and macro targets were essentially identical.
So what does this all mean? If I tell the AI I'm moderately active, and my friend tells it they're sedentary and need to lose twice as much weight, the AI is just handing us the same template.
That is precisely what the data demonstrates. It's a one-size-fits-all approach that's just masquerading as sophisticated personalization.
Which is fundamentally a failure for clinical use.
It is. The AI seems to use the personalization data to structure the prompt, but it doesn't use it to adjust the core energy distribution. It's a critical flaw.
And finally, let's talk about reliability, or what the researchers called AI drift. If I get a great result today, can I trust the AI to give me that same advice next month?
The study found significant evidence of what they called temporal inconsistency. or drift. And this just completely undermines consumer trust.
What happened?
They entered the exact same prompt into ChatGPT-4 at 3 different times in August, November, and December, and the energy and macronutrient outputs varied substantially, sometimes wildly.
Can you give us a specific example of that drift?
Absolutely. For the simulated ketogenic diet, the mean energy suggested in August was around 2,180 calories. Just 3 months later, after the model had been updated in the background, the suggested energy dropped 1,761 calories.
That's a massive, unpredictable difference of over 400 calories for the same person with the same prompt.
And that low reliability makes the system unusable for sustained, precise clinical tracking. If the fundamental advice on how much you should eat changes by 20% for no reason month to month,
Then consistent tracking, which is essential for weight management, becomes impossible.
it creates chaos instead of consistency. The user never knows if a failure to reach a goal is because of them or because the advice changed underneath them. The models are just too fluid and unstable for reliable health advice.
Okay, so we've established this clear division. AI is brilliant for the practical logistics, hands-free cupping, quick inspiration, organizing shopping lists. But the current general-purpose LLMs carry these significant demonstrable risks: nutritional inadequacy, high saturated fat, and this profound inconsistency. So what are the best practices? What does the future hold for a truly safe and reliable AI chef?
The immediate overriding takeaway has to be the critical need for professional oversight and safety guardrails. The studies found that off-the-shelf LLMs GPT-4o, Perplexity, Llama 3 all produced content that could be considered harmful or misleading for users seeking clinical advice.
Let's get specific about the type of harmful content they found, because this goes beyond just being a little bit inaccurate.
The list is troubling. First, there were these overly prescriptive calorie targets, just firm, generic recommendations of 1,600 or 1,700 calories a day.
Which for many people would be far too restrictive.
Exactly. It can lead to deficiencies, lack of energy, or even encourage disordered eating patterns.
And there was also misrepresentation of clinical guidelines.
Yes. The models gave outright dangerous advice. Things like claiming the ketogenic diet is inherently heart healthy, which contradicts established clinical benchmarks.
Wow.
Or they gave firm but incorrect sodium limits for patients with diagnosed conditions like heart failure. That could be severely risky if someone followed it.
And of course, the digital deception, the hallucinations.
Absolutely. The models frequently just fabricated citations, generating links to non-existent scientific sources, or they'd cite non-credible sources like restaurant reviews or personal blogs for serious medical advice. It's a fundamental failure of verification.
This evidence really solidifies the ultimate disclaimer, which you, the learner, have to internalize. AI suggestions are a creative resource. They are not a replacement for a registered dietitian.
You have to use your own critical thinking to double-check everything, especially allergens. But there is a technical solution to this verification problem.
The RAG framework.
Retrieval Augmented Generation, or ARAG. This is the key safety guardrail for health-related AI. ARAG involves enhancing a general LLM by grounding it in a specific, high-quality, peer-reviewed knowledge bank.
It essentially handcuffs the model to verifiable, safe information.
That's a good way to put it.
So how does RAG force the LLM to behave?
In one study, they enhanced a Llama 3 model by training it specifically on the American Heart Association's 2021 dietary guidelines. The RAG layer enforces a strict citation policy.
So it can't just make things up.
It can't. It prevents the LLM from generating hallucinated nutritional claims by forcing all its output to directly reference that validated AHA document. If the advice isn't in the source, the model cannot generate it.
And what was the measurable result of grounding it like that?
The RAG enhanced model scored dramatically higher on appropriateness, reliability, and guideline adherence. And crucially, it produced 0 harmful responses. It had 100% adherence to clinical guidelines.
So the path forward for safe AI in dietetics is creating these highly specialized, medically grounded RAG tools.
Not relying on the broad, general-purpose chat interfaces.
The general LLM is a creative genius for recipes, but only a RAG-enhanced model can safely act as a clinical collaborator.
Exactly. Domain-specific grounding is essential. The general model is great for that Christmas dessert recipe, but when you ask for sodium limits for a heart failure patient, you need RAG to enforce clinical accuracy.
As we look to the future, AI has to move beyond just biological inputs, age, height, weight, and start incorporating the complex reality of our lives.
Right. It has to integrate what are called social determinants of health, or SDOH, to provide truly equitable care.
A meal plan is useless if you can't afford the ingredients or get to a store that sells them.
And that's a massive challenge for future AI development. The AI needs to evolve to recognize constraints beyond just allergies and preferences.
Give us a concrete example where current AI fails because it doesn't get SDOH.
Okay, financial constraints. The AI might generate a perfect 1,800-calorie Mediterranean diet plan, but it relies on expensive ingredients: fresh fish, imported olive oil, full-fat cheese.
Right.
If you tell it you're on a tight budget, say $50 a week for groceries, the AI must instantly adjust to rely on cheaper proteins, frozen vegetables, and lower-cost whole grains.
And the second factor is access.
Access issues, like living in a food desert, an area with limited access to fresh, affordable produce. If you tell the AI you live in a food desert, it shouldn't recommend a week of meals that depend on fresh seasonal fruit.
It needs to pivot to a plan based on shelf-stable foods.
Exactly. Legumes, canned goods, fortified cereals, frozen vegetables, things that are more accessible.
The system needs to understand not just what you want to eat, but what you can realistically get and afford.
It does. And transparency is the final piece of this puzzle, solving the black box problem. We need AI systems that explain why they chose those meals, why they suggested that calorie count.
So what's the proposal for that?
Researchers are strongly advocating for a data nutrition label for AI solutions.
That's a brilliant concept.
It is. It mimics the nutrition facts panel on food. It would help you understand the data, the demographics, the goals, the sources used to train the system.
So a label that tells you what went into the AI so you can judge the reliability and potential bias of what comes out of it.
It's about building trust. Ultimately, the role of AI is to be an immensely powerful tool, but it is not a replacement for human critical judgment.
It can analyze data, generate recipes, suggest models.
But it can't yet replace the critical human interactions, the emotional intelligence, and the comprehensive clinical judgment of a qualified dietitian.
Which brings us back to our core questions for you, the learner, to consider as you move through this holiday season and into the new year. Will AI become our personal kitchen assistant?
Yes, absolutely. For efficiency, for inspiration, for logistical support and time saving, the tech is already here and it's highly effective.
Can it save time during busy holiday weeks?
Absolutely. For planning, organization, budgeting, and generating recipes based on leftovers, it's unparalleled.
And the big one, can AI really help us eat healthier?
Only with professional oversight and RG-level validation. For now, treat general AI as a creative collaborator, but make sure the resulting menu is safe, accurate, and truly personalized by cross-referencing it against professional standards.
The machine provides the creative model. The human provides the clinical and safety judgment.
Exactly.
This has been a necessary and, I think, deeply fascinating deep dive into AI in the kitchen. The key takeaway for anyone looking to navigate meal planning this holiday season is clear. AI is a technological marvel. It offers huge gains in efficiency and personalization.
But the current off-the-shelf models carry these demonstrable risks of nutritional inadequacy, especially that high saturated fat and the low essential micronutrients, and that dangerous inconsistency.
The research is unanimous on this. Professional oversight remains non-negotiable when you're using AI for critical health goals like weight management or handling complex allergies.
Leverage AI for the planning logistics and the creative inspiration, but always ground your nutritional decisions in validated, human-vetted information.
We hope this analysis helps you approach your next meal prep session or grocery run with both excitement for the tech and a healthy dose of critical, informed thinking. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
And we invite you, the learner, to access the detailed episode summary, including all the source material and links to the clinical studies we mentioned today. That's at https://datazen.toppodcast-AI11.
If you found value in this deep dive, please click the heart icon under the article. It really lets the DataZen community know. We thrive on your feedback and always welcome your email suggestions for future topics.
And don't forget to subscribe to the DataZen AI podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube to catch our next deep dive into the intersection of technology and everyday life.
We'll see you next time for more insights into the future of data and technology.